Namaste. I am Akshita Shinde of VPT 3rd year. I am going to mention a case of a patient who is suffering from left hemiplegia. I have been serving in Institute of Physiotherapy and Rehabilitation Center at Kolhapur since 4 months with my senior assessing this case. The patient is going through a routine protocol treatment like strengthening, hydrotherapy, muscle stimulating techniques. I have done a case study on this patient and realized that the beliefs and perspective of watching or looking at the disease is the problem, but not the disease as such. So I have come up with a unique topic in physiotherapy that we are practicing on this patient, which is hypnophysiotherapy. As I said, the main problem is in the belief. I will explain about biopsychosocial model of chronic pain. I would like to start with a question which I was wondering the other day about our belief system and what role do they play in our daily life. And is that belief system related to our profession, that is physiotherapy, or does that belief system has any role in pain management? I would like to say yes. Belief system plays a very important role in pain management, and it is an important component of biopsychosocial model of pain. Let me just start with some example. In India, on some festive occasion, you will see people piercing their cheeks with hot metal rods, or heating themselves with a whip, or walking on a coal which is burning. For you and me, it may be a torture, but they will feel happy and enjoy it. They feel no pain at all. They believe that the God is watching them and He is giving blessings to them. One may connect it with spirituality, but scientifically speaking, it is the belief system actually. Similarly, if you look at the example of a fowl or a bull calf or a small baby elephant, it is very naughty and very playful. And in order to keep it in control, its master would tie his feet with a thick rope to a strong tree. And no matter how hard the baby elephant tries, he cannot break it. And then over time, after several attempts, repeatedly for weeks and months, it gives up. And then he starts believing that it is not possible to break that strong rope. And when it grows to a big, huge elephant, the master would just tie him with a small, thin rope. Now, if the big elephant just gives a small, gentle pull, the rope will come out. But do you think the big elephant tries to break it now? No, because it believes that it is not possible to break the rope. So, it is a belief system that makes an individual to believe in his or her immense capabilities of doing certain tasks or doing some small exercises which we give in day-to-day activities as a physiotherapist. This is what a belief system is. It makes you or it can break you. It can be strongly mental or mentally strong. It can have hopeless ends or endless hope. Let me tell you, the belief system is the feeling of assurance, the feeling of certainty, the feeling of permanence, and the feeling of rigidity. Belief does not get built up just like that. It gets built up based on a past experience that could be bad or a good experience. And if the past experience was good, for example, if you are walking or jumping, you will fail, you will fall, but you won't get worried because it was your belief that nothing is going to happen, and you probably will continue walking or jumping. But if in the past, if you fall and you got a fracture, the next time you will have a small fall, the first thing you will get done is an X-ray, because in your previous experience you had a fracture. There is a sequence of belief system. Firstly, there should be some logic or some event behind it, or some reason or some experience, again that could be bad or good. Then there will be a formation of a feeling or emotion, and then over the time, like a like experience, the feeling will get stronger and become more rigid. And then when we tend to share with our friends and relatives, they will contribute with their past experiences and opinions, and this leads to conviction. And now when an expert like say a doctor or a physiotherapist confirms the same opinion as yours, then it leads to the feeling of permanence. Then that could be then that will turn into a massive belief if multiple people around you have similar opinions. Now to the main topic, biopsychosocial model is the currently accepted model of understanding of chronic pain. So let us connect the belief system with currently accepted biopsychosocial model of pain. The belief system is a very important component of biopsychosocial model of pain management, which is not a old practice worldwide, but in India it is being practiced since ancient times. It is in its own style. The belief system in India is so strong that if someone is hurt or having any problem, or it is not getting cured, they will go to a temple or to their gurus or to someone they believe in house or somewhere else to receive their blessings and traditional remedies. While getting blessings, these gurus assure that the person will be relaxed because it is going to be all fine, and the person have all the reasons to believe in. This is because the vibe present in and around the area and making him easy to believe that yes, he or she is going to be fit and fine. So along with medical help, they also receive psychological support, and it is not only the patient, it is the society, including family members, friends, relatives, etc. These friends and family members motivate the patient by saying yes, it is possible, and then the feeling becomes conviction and patients get settled faster. Now, in its own way, don't you think it is very much fits into biopsychosocial model of pain management? Remember, you as a well-being or say a physiotherapist are an average of 5 people you interact daily in your life. So what people around you think about a certain condition or disease, about their opinion about it, about their behavior about it, will also affect your behavior towards it. That is, be it a disease or a specific condition. Research says that lifetime prevalence of low back pain is 80% in India. And in India, we have a population of more than 1.3 billion. Now, can you imagine how many people shall be having back pain? And do you think they all are going to the clinicians for this? Certainly not. Probably not even 10%. So what is happening to the remaining 70%? Many of them are getting treated in their own ways, either by the traditional method or going to someone they believe in. Of course, many of them are recovering without any traditional remedies or treatment or any help. After any trauma or jerk or pain in the spine, when someone Googles back pain or discuss it with the friends or families, and when they share the stories with the patient, they start imagining slip disc. People start visualizing the prolapse of disc or spondylitis changes in the spine, which eventually gets confirmed after the MRI scan and leads to the formation of conviction, permanent belief. And now we cannot be as good, and the person believes that he cannot be as good as he was before. And unfortunately, some clinicians and the doctors also confirms the same and lowers the hope. Whereas these findings may be incidental findings, but unfortunately the patient will develop negative beliefs about the back pain Hence, negative beliefs absolutely perpetuates the intensity of chronic pain and feeling of disability. It will also increase the duration of suffering. I would like to give a classic example of knee osteoarthritis. It is the most common condition seen after 40s, predominantly in women. When they are diagnosed with this age-related changes, which are normal, but they tend to perceive it as a medical condition and start worrying about it. They Google their condition and they start getting influenced by the experience and opinions of the society available on internet, which compensates them by building up certain beliefs that they should restrict some movements or specific activities because every person's nature is different even though the condition is same, and hence start protecting their joints from stress and strains by avoiding stair climbing, walking, say jumping and knee bending, which leads to further muscle imbalance and the tightness around the various tissues around the joints, thus altering the normal biomechanics, which in turn prevents the patient from doing his day-to-day basic activities and increasing the dependency level on their family and further increasing the feeling of disability. So, belief system can be used as a coping strategy and a mechanism for developing patients' positive mindsets. I have a reference to this statement. Dr. Deepak Kumar, he is a postgraduate in sports physiotherapy and a doctorate in manual therapy. He says that in 1992 he got 2 case studies published in Indian Journal of Sports Physiotherapy, which was the studies was published on hypnophysiotherapy, as I have mentioned it before. He put a patient having right hemiplegia in trance and gave him positive suggestions. He dealt with his subconscious and asked him to raise his right arm, which he was not able to lift to some extent, which he was not able to lift before. But now, to his surprise, he was able to lift to some extent with some pain. And over the time, after a few sessions of physiotherapy, to be specific hypnophysiotherapy, he was able to lift his arm comfortably. As we already know, brain knows the movement and not the muscle actually. He gave muscle stimulation under trance and the results were amazing. Under the trance, because it was easy for the patient to believe that yes, it is possible. He created a positive imaginary picture of him doing particular movements and then created a positive mindset, and he achieved desirable result in a short time span.
He is a patient of young age stroke. He is 49 years old. He is a known case of diabetes since 8 years. Here we can see this patient walking. This video is after the sessions of physiotherapy. He took his routine protocol physiotherapy treatment for 4 months now. Me and my senior are giving him strengthening exercises and hydrotherapy too. There is muscle stimulation and an advanced therapy called as matrix therapy also given one alternate day. There is a long way to go yet, but the person who was fully bedridden is now walking at least. He has got good strength in his left side as compared to before. After motivation and physiotherapy treatment, there is a remarkable change in his attitude and also the perspective while doing these exercises.
This really works amazing. Coming back to our main topic, chronic pain. Pain is our friend and not our enemy. My college professor says this. She also says it should be acknowledged rather than ignored. Pain tells you there is something wrong in your body. It is an alarm system of our body. The pain you get, the moment you get injured, it starts paining. So you are going to take care henceforth. Imagine a patient with diabetic foot. There is so reduced or no pain sensation while walking. Now, if the needle pierces his foot, he won't feel pain and the injury will be unnoticed, resulting in heavy bleeding or some infection. And by that time he comes to know about the injury, it may be too late. He may have to lose his foot, that is, he may have to do amputation. Now, let us think a bit further in terms of pain management with physical therapy. We try to address the cause of the pain as well. So, before deciding the treatment, one has to find the cause behind it. And we, being the physical therapist, we should find the physical cause behind every condition. Remember, medicine can change physiology and not the physics behind it. And we, being the physical therapist, we should treat the physical cause behind it. We should also find psychosocial component behind it. Now, let me ask you a question. If there is a leakage in the roof, will you keep mopping after every hour, or you will call a plumber and get it fixed? Of course, you will call a plumber and you will get it fixed. So, without treating a cause, you cannot fix the pain in the long term basis. Now here it is important to know that the cause could be inside the body or outside, means the belief system associated with the pain or the psychosocial component I am talking about. So, to fix the problem, one must find its cause. For example, if the foot is pronated, the talus also goes downwards and inwards. The tibia goes internal rotation and eventually the femur also goes in internal rotation. And then obviously the biomechanics of the hip joint and the sacroiliac joint gets altered. And this is the case, and in this case all treatment for SI joint or lumbar spine will be temporary only, until and unless you fix the entire chain starting from the pronated foot. So it is important to have a detailed local examination. It is also important to examine the patient globally to find the exact cause. And while assessing and reassessing, you might also find the red flags and the yellow flags which you might have been missed earlier. To understand illness, one must have good communication skills and patience to listen this. Our professor always says that while taking history, open-ended questions should be asked so that you get to know everything about the patient's illness, including associated psychosocial components. Dr. Deepak once in his article also mentioned that any neuromuscular pain, if can be provoked, will be provoked either by maximum compression or by maximum stretch. So, by doing provocating test, you are either compressing maximally or stretching maximally to provoke pain. And if at all the pain is not increasing or decreasing, then probably it is not the mechanical pain. So you think of red flags and psychosocial components. It is the responsibility of the therapist to find the source of pain, no matter it is pathological, mechanical, psychosocial, or due to certain beliefs he was having before. So, it is necessary for the therapist to create a good rapport with the patient and to become his friend, but in a professional way. Now, you may ask that staying connected to a patient as a friend but in a professional way means, what does that mean? It simply means that we as a therapist should see everything that is pain in a biomechanical point of view, treating our patient with their beliefs, which may be good or bad, should be the goal of a therapist. We should convert the positional faults or faulty biomechanics, and in the long run, slowly and steadily, we should change their belief system, but in a positive way, by educating the patient in simple way about his problems and biomechanics behind the injury. and treatment. You should keep on motivating the patient. You should change their beliefs. Therefore, patients become aware and about the mobility, strengthening, corrections of positional faults. And when the patient starts doing the movements which he was not doing it earlier, which are now happening with less pain or no pain, his beliefs will start changing slowly, which was your goal. When greeting a patient on his arrival, never ask your patient, "How is your pain?" Rather, ask, "How good are you?" So, along with the treatment, you are not correcting the positional faults. You are not only correcting the positional faults, increasing mobility of the joint, providing nutrition, stimulating proprioceptions in and around the joints, creating a strong neurophysiological effects to reduce pain, but also the belief system into a new belief system that yes, it is possible to be fit, it is possible to be healthy again as the patient was before. And finally, after your session of treatment where the patient is remarkably better, the new feeling comes in, new opinion starts building, and obviously new positive convictions are placed. This is how physiotherapy works in managing chronic pain along with the belief system. Thank you.